Hi, Victoria. It's
Hello,
great to meet
Justice.
you.
Great to meet you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. Before we dive in, can you tell me a bit about you and how you discovered carnivore? How did it all started for you?
Well, my husband had a heart attack in 2014, and he was about 50 pounds overweight at the time, or so his doctor told him, and he had to lose some weight. So he'd remembered back in the 70s, both of us had done Dr. Atkins. And we thought, okay, that kind of diet might work to watch our carbohydrates. And we started actually with paleo because it had a little more leg room for carbs. And then we went to Atkins. And while I was looking up things on Atkins, all this information on keto came up. So we did keto, and we did keto for about 3 years till the end of 2017. And it helped. Both of us lost weight. I had gained weight. I had gastric bypass surgery about 27 years ago, and it helped me, and I maintained my weight until my husband and I moved to Florida, and we had a big social circle. We started entertaining and eating a lot of fattening stuff and drinking. So about 20, the end of 2017, I was watching shows by Sean Baker, who was touting the carnivore diet. And I thought, that sounds really good to me because I had stalled on keto and I wanted to get a little more serious with my keto. And the explanation was you don't need the vegetables, you don't need the fun stuff with the almond flour, the little baked goods that we were making. I was trying to make the ideal almond flour chocolate chip cookie, and that wasn't helping me, and neither was the drinking. So I tried carnivore with my husband. We went into it slowly. We did low oxalate vegetables and then meat, and it worked out really well in the regard that I lost a lot of issues with health problems. They were put into remission. So we found that carnivore was really helpful in that regard, but I didn't lose weight for 8 months because I wasn't quite having enough fat. So, but that's how I got into it, and it was through Dr. Sean Baker.
That's awesome. Yeah, Sean Baker was one of the few people I also came across when I was doing my carnivore research. Yeah. So what happened after that?
We went on with it, and the first year I saw a lot of healing. As I mentioned, the first thing to go was gout. Now, none of this cured when I was on keto for 3 years, and I was pretty strict. Um, the first thing went was my gout. I'd had in the third month, I had a gout attack, and I was so disappointed because it kind of had gone into remission, not terribly, but it was still coming once in a while. But I thought carnivore would fix it. So I had this terrible gout attack. My toes swelled up and they turned red, and they were just really, it was just really awful. And but then I never had another gout attack after that. And I haven't had one until this past Christmas when I was making a regular cake with sugar in it for my relatives for a party. And I tasted the chocolate mixture from the cake, and I went right back into a gout attack. It was the first time in 7 years that I'd had pure sugar. It really was, it was mostly all sugar that I had tasted, and it didn't take much. So I knew there's a huge gap between when I last had a gout attack in the third month of carnivore and then this just a couple of weeks ago when it came back. But it didn't last long. It was gone in like a day. It was just really gone. So it was the gout was gone. And then in the 6th month, the horrible back pain I had from a herniated disc and 5 desiccated discs in my spine just disappeared. I woke up one morning and told my husband I felt wonderful. I didn't feel pain in my back anymore, and it had been uncomfortable to sit, to lie, to walk, to stand. I couldn't stand being in my own body. The pain was so awful sometimes, and I had been drinking to dull the pain because I didn't want to take opiates. So I switched one addiction for another, and I tapered off the alcohol. And in the 6th month of carnivore, my back pain just was gone, and it's still gone. It has not come back. Um, then I had lichen sclerosus, which is a skin disease that affects a certain personal part of the body. And I was told it was incurable. And I had it for 12 years before I started carnivore. And I tried every steroid cream, every painkiller, it was except the oxy ones. And in my ninth month of carnivore, it started to go away. And for some odd reason that I thought it would help me lose weight faster, because I hadn't started losing much weight until my eighth month. In the ninth month, I quit dairy. Well, by the end of the 10th month, my lichen sclerosus of 12 years was absolutely gone. It was gone. And I have my doctor's confirmation of this. And she couldn't believe it. She could not believe it. After all those years seeing her and being treated for this stuff, that it was gone. And it was really miraculous. And the following year, I visited her again, and it was still gone. So I made a believer out of her. And a few other things I had, my cataracts in my eyes for about 4 or 5 years into carnivore. And then a couple of years ago, they just disappeared. I went to my optometrist, and he said, I said, how do my cataracts look? Because he had said that the visit before that next year we're going to look at having them removed. He said, what cataracts? You have no cataracts. I said, but doesn't it show on my record I had them? He goes, well, yeah, but there's nothing there now. And he didn't understand why it would go away, and he was busy and he didn't have time to go into it. But I left that office knowing that I no longer had cataracts. And the same thing happened to my husband. They'd even given him a referral slip for surgery, to go and have the surgery, but he put it off because we went on vacation. And he came back and he didn't do it. And about 6 months later, he had another exam to see where he was at with them, and they were gone. So carnivore does some really amazing things, and that's what happened after we started carnivore.
Victoria, that's amazing. Well, because things that you're telling me right now, you have sclerosis, and then the cataracts all disappeared, and also the back pain. Sclerosis was 12 years, and then the cataracts was several years also, correct?
Mm. Yes, yes,
How
at least
many
5 years.
mm, how many years was the I guess the back pain, the herniated disc?
About 6 or 7, and I had a series of two X-rays on my back, and my doctor showed them to me. And when he showed them to me, he teared up because he had back pain too, and he knew what it felt like. So he was such a dear, empathetic person. He's passed away since then, but it was just awful, and I didn't know. My next step was surgery, or to be in a wheelchair, and it was just very uncomfortable to be me. It was really hard. So, but that was 6 years prior to starting carnivore.
Wow, I think it's very impressive. I mean, living with back pain for so many years, and you didn't just accept the chronic pain like it's permanent. I feel like some people would just say, this is just part of aging, but you keep experimenting. You mentioned Atkins, and then keto, and then until you found carnivore. I feel like
Mhm.
that shows a lot of persistence and mental toughness. What was the hardest part of like during those years before the pain went away, before you found carnivore?
Well, I really was drinking a lot, more than most people. I'd had at least a bottle of wine a day for a long stretch of time. And I was drinking through the keto diet. And they say, well, it's not so bad. But I'd since found out while I was carnivore that alcohol itself is considered the fourth macronutrient after fat, protein, and carbs. Then there's alcohol, because the liver identifies it as a substance that it can gain energy from, but while it's taking energy from it, converting it to energy, it's also trying to flush it out of the body and get rid of it. So what it does is the presence of alcohol in the body ends ketosis, which is crucial to the keto and the carnivore diets, and it's what brings the healing and the weight loss. So if you're not having ketosis, you're in trouble. You may as well, be eating carbohydrates, because you're going to weight stall, or gain weight.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I guess after living with pain for so many years, and and other chronic illnesses, what kept you motivated to keep going before you even found carnivore? Because I feel like I had my share of pain also, like with my joint pain, with my tennis elbow, and in just a year, I feel like I want to give up because I couldn't sleep. What motivates you to like keep on going until you found carnivore?
Well, it really was to help my husband lose the weight. You know, when I met him, he was trim, but together I probably cooked too much for him and he put on the weight. I felt a little guilty and responsible for that. And he really needed to keep his weight down. So it was my idea to just keep doing the dieting because I did the shopping and the grocery shopping and the cooking. So I felt it was the burden was on me to keep him in health, and that to do it with him would be an important part of our relationship. We're very partner oriented. We're a team. We work on things together. We consult each other on issues, and I love him for that. And I felt that that was on me to keep going, to keep him healthy. And I went along for the ride. And when I started losing those ailments, and getting in remission or cured, or however you want to describe what carnivore did, that was great motivation for me.
That's pretty awesome. How long you and your husband have been carnivore?
Since January of 2018. We kind of started in December with a few vegetables. We'd have cauliflower and cucumbers with our steaks and hamburgers. But by January, we started full swing. Yeah, I think he was there maybe a couple months later. He joined me full swing. He was still having vegetables. So by March, of 2018. He was full carnivore, but I'd started in January, a little ahead of him.
That's pretty awesome. I think you mentioned earlier 6 months during of carnivore, and your back pain went away. Um, did you notice this? Like, was it something gradual? Did you notice the improvement? Was it like disappearing in the span of 6 months, or was it just like that 1 month where you guys transitioning from keto to carnivore that it just disappeared like quickly?
It seemed to disappear quickly, but I know now in retrospect that it was happening gradually. And I just it happened so gradually, I kind of didn't notice it. But I recognized in the 6 months that I had to say something to my husband because it was so remarkable that it was gone. And I kept testing it out, wiggling and moving my back and sitting and standing up, and it was definitely gone. But I'm sure it happened somewhat gradually, and then the inflammation cleared. It cleared. And I went back to my doctor, and he would not let me have another x-ray. And his reason was, you don't have any pain. Why should I expose you to an x-ray? And I was really disappointed because I wanted to see what happened because I feel like there's nothing in my back anymore, and there hasn't been for in all that time. So I would really like the proof. Maybe someday I'll get another doctor to give me an x-ray that I can compare with the other two I have.
That's amazing. So did carnivore give you like other benefits? I know I hear this a lot from other carnivores, like doing other physical activities, maybe doing outdoor activities, or did you have any other benefits from carnivore? I think you mentioned earlier some also.
Well, once I could move normally, I felt so energized too that we joined a gym. We started going regularly. I could not even have imagined going to a gym when I was in that kind of back pain. It was very crippling. And we went to the gym and I took it slowly and I started doing the weight machines and getting on a treadmill. And then I started walking around the neighborhood. And that helped me lose a little more weight. And also quitting coffee in the second year helped me lose about 20 more pounds. So yeah, activities that I couldn't do before, like go visit friends and sit in their living room on their sofa and be comfortable and not say to my husband, I have to go home now and take something and lie down because I can't stand to be in my own skin. So yeah, it really improved my life. It was a tremendous improvement. It was like coming back from a coma or the dead. It was just hello life, there you are. And I almost take it for granted now, but it's wonderful. It's a whole different
Yeah,
world. I mean,
yeah, that's amazing. I guess before you and your husband were carnivore, what was your favorite food?
oh, I think I like pasta and definitely ice cream. I was a big coffee ice cream fan. Now, I have made, you may have heard of Jenny Middich. She has a cookbook out that I bought, and she has an ice cream recipe in there with allulose as a sweetener. And I made it for my husband, and he raved about it, and I tried it. And yes, it tastes like real ice cream because it's basically heavy cream and half, and a sweetener and some egg yolks, and the texture is there. It doesn't appeal to me anymore. So no more ice cream for me.
Yeah, that's funny. Looking back at the start of your carnivore, it's been 7, 8 years. Were there any mistakes in the beginning you made? How did you learn from them? Or did you ever had a doubt that, hey, maybe carnivore was not working, but you kept on going?
Yes, when I didn't lose weight in the first 8 months, I had lost about 40 some odd pounds, 47 pounds with keto. And then I went on carnivore and I did not lose weight for 8 months and I did not understand it. Um, and then I went into it and researched it and found out that I wasn't having enough fat. And I was using a fit, I forget the name of the other app that I was using, and I switched to Carb Manager. And Carb Manager had a built-in, still does, has a built-in carnivore macro where it starts at a baseline of 75% fat and 25% protein in terms of content by calories. So if you're taking 100 calories a day, you've got 25 of them are protein and 75% are fat. That's very elementary example. And I started following that around my ninth month. And then I started to lose weight on a more regular basis. That was my mistake, thinking that I could just eat meat and dairy as well, which was not helping me. So to not track was my error, and I still track to this day, and it helps me stay on maintenance and not gain weight. Because otherwise, if I don't track, I will gain weight because I'll overeat protein. And I have learned the hard way that that's an issue for me, especially. And I kind of, when I hear people say, oh, you don't have to track anything on carnivore, you just eat meat. I say, well, you might learn a lesson from that because I feel pretty strongly that it will help you, especially if you're in the lose weight phase. Once you get to maintenance, you may be able to eat that way, but tracking is one thing. And I had thought at that time that carnivore wasn't for me. But then I tried this situation of watching how much fat you get and trying to balance the fat being higher and the protein being lower. And it doesn't have to be very much higher. It doesn't have to be 75%. It can be closer to 60%. And you still lose weight or maintain your weight. So those were my issues with it at that point in time.
That's pretty awesome. Um, what does a typical eating for you look like now after carnivore? Like, do you pretty much stay consistent or do you switch things up? Maybe you can walk me through what you usually eat. I guess I wanted to like get in details, like each day and like maybe during the week. Yeah.
But my basic go-to is beef, either in the form of steak or hamburger. I always buy the high-fat hamburger, which we can get here in the States, which is a 73% or 75% lean. And most burgers meats are ground beef is 80 or 90% lean. And that's a little too low in fat for me. I like the higher fat and I think it even tastes better. Now, what my day looks like is I have a collagen shake instead of breakfast. It's water, ice, 2 scoops of collagen powder. And I take a B complex vitamin because I had gastric bypass and I don't absorb the vitamins from meat as well as I should. And I also put a little potassium in there because I was tested for it. And apparently I wasn't absorbing potassium well. So I put 3 little capsules, which is about 1,000 milligrams of potassium in there. And that's my breakfast in quotes. And then I won't eat for another few hours. And that would be one of my 2 meals in the day. I will have a fatty meat like bacon, maybe some eggs, and just about any meat that's laying around or left over. I eat liver occasionally, chicken liver, but not every day. And then I'll wait a few more hours and I'll have an evening meal, a supper, dinner meal, which will be several ounces of beef, and we also eat chicken. I make chicken because my husband loves it, but I eat very little of it. And even when I'm serving it, I'll have some beef alongside, or just eat very little of it. So we do eat. We add in chicken and turkey. I found a local store sells the turkey breasts as individual pieces, so they're easy to cook, and we do that. So it's beef in various forms. Sometimes I'll make a pot roast in just juice and in bone broth and salt, and then chicken, turkey. And the other night, I went to a store called Wild Fork, which is a new kind of supermarket that's meat only. And they had Iberico pork lagarto, which is a strip next to the tenderloin of the pig, and I tied them all together and roasted them, and it was so delicious because it tasted more like a pork roast than um, pork belly. We'll have pork belly occasionally too. So that's it. It's the shake in the morning, which is non-dairy, and then meat for lunch and meat for dinner, and maybe once in a while I'll have a second shake without the vitamins in it, just in the evening. So just to get a little, it's refreshing to me. So that's my
That's
routine.
that's awesome. Yeah. Have you ever done something, I guess, unconventional when it comes to carnivore? Have you? I think some people have eaten raw meat. They switched to that. I guess just within the carnivore framework. Have you done something maybe different from
No,
carnivore?
no, I haven't tried raw. I'm really skeptical about that, and I always have been. So I won't be trying raw because I once got E. coli from chicken in a restaurant, and I spent 9 days flat out vomiting and having rigorous diarrhea. And by the time I got to the hospital, I was near death. So I had to have IV fluids for a day or so, and it was not fun. So I don't try the raw things, and I think that's about as out there as a carnivore can get. And more power to people who think that they're happier that way. But I also personally believe that a cooked meat offers us more nutrition than a raw meat, and cooked takes less effort to digest. And I think that anthropologists will tell us that early man's brain started to grow and expand once he started cooking his meat or their meat. So I'm on the side of cooking meat, but hey, do what you want to do. So
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah. What is the hardest thing about being carnivore for you? To me, it's always been the social gatherings. I feel like
yeah.
I'm alone, you know. The travel and the cravings in the beginning that slowly went away. What's the hardest thing for you?
Well, you mentioned those two. That's really for me. We have a big family out here, and every other month there's a big family party, either at my house or someone else's house. And those people, none of those people are carnivore or even keto. And when I have them over, I'm going to have a starchy vegetable or a green vegetable. And sometimes I'll offer them a dessert other than fruit. And the temptation is there, but also the alcohol. I really have backed off. Once in a while, I'll have a drink because I'm on maintenance. I'm not worried about losing weight. And I'm always sorry the next day if I indulge in something. Even something carbohydrate will give me arm and leg cramps like crazy. I remember I made pizza for them and I had to taste it. I just had, and it doesn't take much. I tasted it and I spent the next 4 hours in terrible pain. That and traveling is a little bit difficult, but I find that if I get into a fasting mindset, I don't have to worry so much about eating, and I will carry my own food that I make. Because I'm commercially, if I'm at an airport or somewhere on the road, I'll stop at one of those fast food burger places that claims to have 100% beef, like a Wendy's or a McDonald's, and get just the patties. I don't even do their cheeses because I don't believe that they're real cheeses. But yeah, those two things are really difficult when you're entertaining or being entertained. It's hard to stick to it. And restaurants are difficult too. We rarely go out anymore, and we always try the steakhouses. And one of our sons is really good at sending us a gift card for different steakhouses. We've tried about 4 or 5 of them now. And we're still looking for the holy grail of a steak that isn't covered in some kind of vegetable oil and served with served with vegetables.
Yeah, same experience with the restaurants. It's really hard. I'm being more picky now. Like, when we go out, like where to eat. During my earlier phase of carnivore, wasn't too picky. Now, the more I delve into it, the more I pickier I become. Um, yeah.
You can
If you
make
had to
a better
describe,
steak at home. I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say you can make a better steak at home. And I'm sure that you have developed your sense of taste about what you like to eat and how well you can cook it. It's different. You can't go, it can no longer go to a restaurant without being critical about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, if you had to describe the impact of carnivore in your life, what one word would you describe it, and why?
I want to say happy. I'm so happy as a person. I used to be very depressive and anxious, and I was even on medication. I didn't even mention that. I went off my medication going for my sixth to seventh month in my first year of carnivore. I used to take Effexor and Tradazone, I think it was called, for sleep, and then I was on sleeping pills because my depression kept me up at night. I was on Ambien, and it was just awful. It gave me terrible headaches. All especially Effexor gave me migraines, and I hated it. And I just said, "That's it. I don't need this anymore." I have been the happiest person on carnivore. I really believe that it helps with your mental state. It's just a freaking miracle. And that drinking I did was because I was so sad, and the drinking made me forget. I forgot I was depressed for a few minutes, but then it made it worse. But yeah, happy is a word. I'm so happy that I'm healthy, that I have so much energy for a 74-year-old person, and that it's just brought back the spark in my relationship with my husband. We're not sitting around mopey, watching TV all day. We have stuff to do. He's got tons of projects that he does around the house, and he has a job now, a part-time job where he does photography for real estate. My part-time job has become my channel, my carnivore channel. But yeah, there's so much more to life on carnivore, and happiness is a big part of it.
That's really awesome to hear. Knowing what you know now about carnivore and nutrition, if you can give an advice to someone just starting, or maybe let's get to the specific, maybe someone close to you sees that you had success getting rid of the back pain, the sclerosis, and the cataract, and what would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them to start slowly, but to start by eliminating carbohydrates and sugar, and to kind of roll into it and take their time and to study what carbs and sugar do to the body. I'd also tell them to avoid in the beginning plant oils, and I'm one of those people who firmly believes that it's all plant oils that we need to eliminate, because any plant oil, no matter its saturated fat content, like a coconut oil, um, still has the phytosterols that block cholesterol that your body makes from working properly. Cholesterol is there to repair cells and to make your steroid or sex related hormones like testosterone and estrogen and progesterone. And if you block your cholesterol with plant oils, you're going to take a long time to heal, and maybe even a long time for losing weight because they cause inflammation. So start out slow, no carbs, no sugar, cut out the plant oils, and then start looking at the plants and cutting them out, cutting back on them, and looking at what oxalates do, what they are, and how they impact your body, and just gradually move into it, and take your time and read and watch videos about being low carb, without plants and without plant oils.
That's an awesome advice. Um, how do you see carnivore movement in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see, I guess, the lifestyle and the community, positive and negative? Like positive meaning more people learning more about carnivore because we're seeing a lot of success with people trying it. So more people in the community, right? And then negative would be something like meat prices going high. Maybe in the media it will be censored because they don't want us knowing it. Maybe information not being correct. Yeah. What are your
Well,
thoughts?
I'm observing that the community is growing, and it's because understanding about what we're eating is growing. And I see a lot of people who were on the periphery get closer into a core of carnivore than not, because they recognize what carnivore is doing and how it eliminates all the junk food and the seed oils and the plant oils and that kind of thing. And I'm very happy to see a lot younger people than myself, because when I started, the bulk of the audience for carnivore was more the older crowd, and it gradually has reached into the younger generation. The group I have on Facebook started as the carnivore diet for people over age 60, because I was over age 60 when I started, and I over time cut it down to over age 50, and now over age 40, because there's a huge audience for the people getting into their 40s. That's a milestone age for them. Not 30. 30, you still can get away with that kind of thing. So I am very happy and proud to see the audience growing for it, the understanding about the diet growing. And as far as the resistance we have from the commercial industry, big food and big pharma, we can work against that. When doctors see that when you're on this elimination diet, you don't need your medication anymore, they kind of get the message. Although they are kind of under the obligation to promote pharmaceuticals to you as part of their agreement with their insurance companies that pay them, who are also in bed with the big pharma people. I think over time that's going to loosen up. We see a lot of doctors who were conventional physicians move into the more naturopathic line of work, and they bring their basic medical knowledge with them, but then they are open to the alternatives and the fact that diet has so much to do with your health and mental well-being. So I do have hope for the future. I have hope for people who are younger than I am, like yourself, and even younger. There are some kids on Instagram who follow a carnivore diet, and good for them. They're going to grow up healthy and smart and reap the benefits.
That's awesome. Yeah. What do you think we can do? I guess for because you mentioned the future generation. What do you think we can do to create I guess, a better future for the future generation? All pertain to this community and the lifestyle.
Well, I think it's disseminating information like you're doing, like I'm doing with Mark, and just getting the information out there. The more the merrier, and just keep repeating it. And I don't care if I go on 50, 60 shows and tell the same old story. It's important that someone somewhere gets exposed to the information and learn that there is a difference, there is a choice, there is an option, and there's a way out of feeling ill, feeling mentally depressed. Even they're even working on it with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. And there is so much out there that a change in your diet can bring to you. That it's just getting the information out there, and I'm all for that. I'm for anybody and everybody who wants to start their own channel, and or TikTok, wherever. Just get the information out there. That's my mission.
That's excellent advice. Um, Victoria, if people want to reach out or connect with you, where's the best place to reach you?
If you want to reach out to me personally, it's Carnivore Evolution 2024 at gmail.com. It's Carnivore Evolution 2024, all one word. We have a YouTube channel called Carnivore Evolution, which is at Carnivore Evolution 2024 on YouTube. Have an Instagram account where we kind of repeat Mark's posts and our clips from our YouTube channel, which is also Carnivore Evolution 2024. And I just kind of started on TikTok. I'm not that big on TikTok, but Mark Ennis, Ennis, is on TikTok, and he does a great job with his short videos. Beautiful job.
That's
That's
awesome. And excellent. I'm gonna make sure to post all of it in the description. Victoria, thank you again for joining me today. I really enjoyed hearing your story and your carnivore journey. I appreciate it. Thank you.
and thank you for the opportunity, Joseph. Appreciate being here.